We'll zoom in a little bit stronger. So this is the strongest portion of the storm. There's not a real strong indication of rotation, but it's there nonetheless, and therefore we have a tornado warning in effect for Putnam County. But I also want to have everyone alert to the fact that this one thunderstorm is part of a complex of thunderstorms that we think will expand, that will also impact those of you in Flagler, St. Johns, Clay, and Duval County, might catch far southeastern Nassau County. So although the tornado warning is only in effect right now for those of you in Putnam County, when I say only as far as the geographical area, and there's a tornado watch, that means the potential for more tornadoes to develop in the Florida Panhandle, that others over northeastern Florida, we may be dealing with thunderstorms as well. For instance, this thunderstorm complex is beginning to intensify over Alachua County, headed toward Bradford County. This thunder shower is beginning to intensify over northwestern Flagler into southwestern St. Johns. So if you're wondering, the two other areas we're watching right now, this thunderstorm complex headed into southwest St. Johns County, and then this thunderstorm complex over Alachua that will soon be headed into Bradford County. But for now, tornado warning. That means radar indicates we could possibly have a tornado over Putnam County, and it's with this particular cell here that is to the southwest of Interlaken. And within moments now, the worst that this storm has to offer will be headed in toward the Interlaken area. Here we have some timing. Specifically, we're saying 2:48, but really, if you're anywhere within about 5 miles of Interlaken, now is not the time to be on the roadways. What you want to do is make sure you and your loved ones are away from windows. Our main concern, any tornado causes concern for us, but we think it looks like from radar that the main concern would possibly be flying debris that would head in toward your windows. Take a look at the full screen of that while I check out a couple other aspects of the storm. Again, moving to the northeast at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. The tornado warning in effect until 3:15 for those of you in Putnam County. And no, again, this is radar indicated. No signs of any damage yet, although certainly if anybody in the area sees any, certainly send us pictures and let us know. Not only is it nice to see it visually, but it's good to help others as well. So we call this the velocity. This just supports the idea of potential rotation right here to the southwest of Interlaken. We call this the VIL. That's just an acronym for vertical integrated liquid. And it really, so this doesn't show you just where the rain is. It really is focusing on where there's the most vertical development to the storm. Think of it as a chimney. And the higher and stronger the chimney is, the greater the chance for that rotation and updraft to continue to form. So really what we're following here is not the rain. The rain is broader. What we're following is different chimneys that are trying to develop. Convection, organized updrafts, and you can see why we're watching pretty closely for those of you who are southwestern St. Johns County as well. This system in Alachua County, if anything, notice the colors are no longer quite as intense. So that thunderstorm is decreasing in intensity somewhat. But outside of the tornado warning, then we have another complex of thunderstorms that are intensifying heading into St. Johns County. So St. Johns County, I'm not saying you're going to be under a tornado warning, but certainly at the very least some strong thunderstorms will continue to expand over the southern portions and central portions of St. Johns County. Here's we call this the forecast, future cast of what the thunderstorms will do, and it just generally supports the idea that these thunderstorms will continue to expand. Doesn't mean they're all going to have tornadoes, but they will continue to expand through Clay. We talked about St. Johns, but also into Duval County from now through about 5:30 to 6 o'clock tonight. Then we'll focus on that squall line out to the west that's over the Florida Panhandle. That's why a tornado watch exists out there. Actually, the Severe Storms Forecast Office is more concerned about this area. In fact, this is the squall line. It's racing along, and it is producing some damaging winds. They're more concerned about more widespread tornadoes here, but still you can see this broad area of thunderstorms coming at us from the northeast, and we're right on the edge of where that energy at about 15 to 30,000 feet is, combined with the heat of the afternoon, and that's why even our thunderstorms here, although not part of the tornado watch, there's the concern possibly with tornadoes. This just came out. This is a new severe thunderstorm warning. So this is an area in which thunderstorms could produce some wind damage. That doesn't include us, but that's just to the west of Suwannee County. And for those of you in Columbia County, you know Suwannee is just west of you. So for those of you in Columbia County, we're going to keep a close watch on this cluster of thunderstorms as it's headed to the northeast. But again, if you've just joined us, the tornado warning is in effect for the shaded area of Putnam County. And this thunderstorm is moving along pretty quickly at 40 miles per hour, a little faster, certainly into the Interlaken area. So anybody within about 5 miles of Interlaken, now is not the time to be in a vehicle. Now is the time to make sure that you and your loved ones and friends are away from any type of debris that might flow through the windows. If you feel like you're not in the best of buildings, but you're in the Interlaken area, you don't want to leave now. Just stay where you are. If you're up in Baywood and you're in a building that you don't feel particularly secure about, then you would have the time to go to a building in the Baywood area. In Interlaken area, I would not do that. So what we're looking at here, I'm trying to nail down a little bit better what we see as far as we call it the velocity. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, and so we're heading toward. And I'll take some of the noise out so you can see what I'm trying to look at. So we have some. If there's a possibility of rotation here, and I'll tell you what I'll do, we'll slow this down. And if there's a possibility of rotation, it is right in here. So that's where radar is indicating possible rotation. And that is the storm, and that storm is heading off to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. And so we'll take a look at that rotation, and we'll head off just for about the next 10 minutes or so. And so this would include Interlaken Elementary. Again, we're talking about a radar-indicated tornado. We haven't had observations of it on the ground yet, but certainly now would be the time to take precautions in the Interlaken area. To not be on the roadways. For instance, parents, now would not be the time to race to Interlaken Elementary. As much as I know you care about your kids, I'm sure they're doing exactly what they need to do there to keep a close watch on what's happening with this potential, again, it's a potential tornado. Certainly a strong thunderstorm that has the potential to produce a tornado. And again, moving to the northeast, I'm just trying to check it out to see if we're seeing any signs of weakening or strengthening, and we're really not. It's a radar indicated. It has rotation, and it continues to head to the northeast, and thus the tornado warning remains in effect. And the main concern continues to be for the Interlaken area. And then you can see why the shading includes areas off to the east. And so everyone in Putnam County needs to keep a close watch on this thunderstorm that could be producing rotation. But the main concern then beyond Interlaken will be in these areas of Putnam County. And if you're wondering where they are, and I'm going to adjust this, just doing some analysis on the fly here, and say that it's moving along at 45 miles per hour. So let's say the rotation is moving along at about 45 miles per hour. So what about farther down the road? So that would include you folks getting up toward Baywood, and then the middle school between Interlaken and Baywood there. So again, if you've just joined us, a tornado warning is in effect for Putnam County. The area, the neighborhoods, the town of greatest concern right now in Putnam County is Interlaken, and then heading up toward Baywood. For those of you to the west of Palatka, that's the greatest concern in Putnam County. Do want to keep a close watch on other thunderstorms, especially that are expanding to the northeast and east of this thunderstorm complex. So that's going to be St. Johns County. You're not under a warning, but we're watching that closely for you. And then for those of you around Columbia County, we're going to watch this thunderstorm complex. It's going to race to the northeast, but you could be on the edge of that thunderstorm complex. All right, with that said, let's zoom into where the action is. So the tornado warning continues to be for Putnam County. And with all of this activity, what we're really watching is this thunderstorm complex right in there. The overall thunderstorm continues to intensify a bit. Interesting to me that we don't see lightning. That's a good sign. If we were to see a lot of lightning, that would show further intensification. But I don't want to minimize this, this tornado warning or this thunderstorm that could be producing a tornado. And the concern is going to be right here. The worst of it is really crossing Highway 20 right about now to the west of Interlaken. So for those of you south of Highway 20, pretty soon your concern will be over. But in Putnam County, let's say from Interlaken west on Highway 20 for about 5 to 10 miles, that's where the worst of the weather is. That's where the greatest concern will be. A little bit of lightning showing up. Don't like to see that. That means the overall thunderstorm complex is probably intensifying a bit. And although all of this area is under the tornado warning, if you really want to nail it down, we're going from Interlaken up to about Baywood with that particular cell. And what we're going to do here is so you can see what the motion has been. So the rotation was here. The rotation indicated by radar, so that supports, verifies the idea that this is moving to the northeast, maybe even a little more to the northeast. And we'll pull out there a bit, and so I still think we can pretty much draw that line from Interlaken up to about Baywood, and you can see some of the areas that chime out here. The Interlaken Elementary School between now and 3, Baywood. This is going to be adjusted somewhat, but it's why the tornado warning goes until 3:15. And it's not like there's something magical about that particular rotation. I mean, if this were to become a dominant major tornado, we would follow one circulation. But typically with a thunderstorm like this, we could actually see rotations weaken and another one form within that thunderstorm, but maybe not be within the same spot. So that's why you'll see some of these times adjust somewhat, and we're just adjusting to whatever looks to be the dominant potential rotation within that storm system. I'm looking elsewhere with the radar, and I don't see anything else other than the overall theme of the idea that the thunderstorms expanding right along the Putnam-St. Johns County line. They're continuing to expand northward as well. So for those of you in southeastern Clay County, maybe up toward Green Cove Springs, for southern and central St. Johns County, maybe over the next 30 minutes as far to the north as the World Golf Village. I'm not saying you're going to be under a warning, but going to watch these thunderstorms pretty closely. And this thunderstorm complex as well, although, yeah. So here's a vertical integrated liquid. Gives us a good idea of just the overall intensity of the storms. The higher they are, the stronger they are, generally speaking. So this thunderstorm complex heading toward Bradford County, can you see how we're losing some of the intensity there? And whereas these colors are actually increasing, and as they increased, now we're seeing some lightning. That really just means it's high enough now to where there's ice at the top of that cloud. And these cells certainly have maintained themselves, and they are maybe increasing in intensity as well. So just supports the tornado warning that we have in effect for Putnam County. And again, the future cast, the forecast through 6:30 shows these thunderstorms expanding. If nothing else, folks, for those of you, whether we're talking about letting out of school or just plain rush hour, at the very least, plan on heavy rain and lightning expanding through the rest of St. Johns, Clay, and Duval, and maybe portions of Nassau County right during rush hour. So if you have the flexibility, especially over the northern half of St. Johns, northern Clay, into Duval County, if you have the flexibility to maybe get out early before the heavy rains hit, not a bad idea, as even if you don't get put under a tornado warning, it's a guarantee there will be heavy rain spreading into the area. Then later on this evening, if you're making plans, this is the squall line that we will watch. This is the squall line that is right now producing the severe weather out over the Florida Panhandle. We're all on the warm side of that massive front that we've been talking about now for over a week that has actually produced snow as far to the south as Houston and Louisiana. Now that snow's racing to the northeast. There's actually record heat developing along the eastern seaboard, but that's all part of that massive system, and this is the tornado watch. But again, a tornado watch means the potential for tornadoes. The tornado warning. Okay, we're going to go to, this is I-95 and 206, so we are down in St. Johns County, and you can look at the traffic. I'm actually going to look at the clouds there. Now, there's a couple things that that I see by observing. Number one, you don't see any dark clouds, so that's good, right? On the other hand, we do see the sun shining, and temperatures are rising. So what does that mean? Well, although you may not feel a lot of wind at the surface, up at about 2,000 to 5,000 feet, there is a lot of wind up there. And the warmer the temperatures get at the surface, then the more the air rises toward where those higher winds are, which also then allows those higher winds to mix down to the surface. And so although some sunshine, sometimes that can be a positive sign. Under this scenario, I don't want to see the sun. I don't want to see temperatures heating up over St. Johns County, and they are. So again, on the short term, there's some good news at 995 and State Road 206. The rain hasn't hit yet. Traffic is moving on along nicely, but that does support the idea of why we are at least guaranteed that even, for instance, even at I-95 and 206, there will be heavy rain. I'd almost bet money on it. So we're talking about up here. There will be heavy rain. There will be some thunderstorms. The question is, how strong will the activity be? For now, the strongest of the activity is right over Putnam County. That's where the tornado warning is. And you can almost see maybe a little rotation even in this radar presentation that is passing just to the west now of Interlaken, although certainly you folks who are west of Interlaken, it's a big deal for you as well. This is working out, I think, is a good signature. So I know there's a lot going on. There's a lot of noise here, but this does show. So this is where the rotation was just 15 minutes ago, and now it's made it all the way up to Highway 20 and continues to work off toward the northeast. Race to the northeast pretty quickly, really, at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. And so the next areas of concern of more densely populated areas will be Roberts Middle School and then up toward Baywood. Now, again, we have not had any reports of actual damage from this storm yet. Certainly let your emergency manager know if you see any with the particular storm still racing to the northeast at 45 miles per hour. The tornado warning goes until 3:15. The radar also supporting those thunderstorms that we're seeing heading in towards St. Johns County. Those thunderstorms are intensifying. At the very least, those thunderstorms heading into Flagler, St. Johns, and the rest of Putnam County could produce some wind gusts to about 50 miles per hour. And we can't rule out the fact that they might start to produce tornadoes as well. So for now, the tornado warning is in effect for Putnam County. And the concern being there from Interlaken up to about the Baywood area. So what we're going to do here is we're going to continue to follow the rotation and clear some of this noise out for you so you can take a look at this. Now, for those of you not in Putnam County, the good news is, well, you're not under a tornado warning right now. However, the threat of thunderstorms heading your way, in fact, it's really more of the threat. For those of you in St. Johns and Clay and Duval County, thunderstorms are expanding your way. And that doesn't mean that you are necessarily going to have a tornado or a severe thunderstorm. Plan on heavy rains coming your way. But for those of you wondering, why are we still in the air? For those in Putnam County, this is a big deal, but also because these thunderstorms are expanding and heading to the northeast, we want to make sure you are aware of at least the thunderstorms heading your way, and then the possibility of more intensification of these thunderstorms, and therefore the possibility of some other tornado warnings. So it's not nearly as clear cut, and that's a good sign, folks. But nonetheless, the radar rotation indicated by the radar is now north of Highway 20. So it's north of Highway 20 and heading toward the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. So these will be some of the spots, and we're talking about even rural Putnam County. So the good news is we don't really name any particular areas. So what I'll do now is we'll expand this picture for you up toward Baywood. And again, the rotation becoming increasingly difficult to see. That is good news. But let's just say the strongest part of this thunderstorm over the next 20 minutes or so will move about like this. So from Roberts Middle School up to Baywood, up toward the Providence area. So for those of you in the tornado warning, it is west of Palatka. The worst of it is about ready to pass the Interlochen area, and we're going to focus more on toward Baywood. The tornado warning remains in effect till 3:15, and the Severe Storms Forecast Office has just decided they are concerned enough so that all of us are now under a tornado watch. So a lot of vocabulary here. Tornado warning means radar indicates we could have a tornado within this thunderstorm complex in Putnam County. The tornado watch means that other areas within the First Coast may see thunderstorms that could produce tornadoes anytime between now and 10 o'clock. And certainly the computer models are indicating. So what we're going to do now is we will expand the picture. All of this is coming in from the National Weather Service, and I may have to do this manually for us because it looks like now we are having some problems with moving these, and so I will do this manually. So a tornado watch has been issued for all of the First Coast. The tornado watch means the potential is there for thunderstorms to possibly produce tornadoes throughout the area, and that threat continues until 10 o'clock. Okay, so we're working again. So there's a lot of shading here, folks. So now not only is there a tornado watch in effect for the Florida Panhandle, every single county now under the First Coast is under a tornado watch. So that means that although we have that tornado warning over Putnam County, every single county now, and this comes from the Severe Storms Forecast Office. They're kind of like the National Hurricane Center, the Severe Storms Forecast Office. All of those in Northeast Florida and South, all of us over Northeast Florida and Southeastern Georgia, except to be technical, those of you in Glenn County, are not under the tornado watch. Now, the tornado warning for those of you in Putnam County, this has been radar indicated. We haven't had damage reports yet. We may still receive them. Let us know if you have observed damage from this particular tornado warning. This is in effect until 3:15, and the worst of the storm and the potential rotation is now north of Highway 20, and as far as Putnam County is concerned, think Highway 100, and the motion off to the northeast at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. This is where the rotation was from 2:30 to about 3, and now the rotation from 3 to then beyond that, 3:10 or so, is now to it's north of Highway 20. So this is where potential rotation is, and this is moving along at 45. We might even be able to say 50 miles per hour. Painting here the timing, which would then take us toward, we have a lot of information out here, I know. So the tornado warning goes until 3:15. The areas from Bayard to the middle school there in Bayard and up toward Providence. I'm not sure if we can take this off. Whoever has put that information up there, so we can, there we go. So we can let you know if this thunderstorm is producing a tornado. These are the areas that could be hit. At the very least, these areas will be hit by the strongest portion of this thunderstorm from now through about 3:17. So all of this shading, though, shows where the tornado watch is in effect. So now we're looking at we're not looking at the rain, we're simply looking at the strongest portions of the storm. So this supports the tornado watch. or the tornado warning. This supports the tornado warning in Putnam County. Now notice we have some other stronger thunderstorms farther off to the south. The thunderstorms that we were watching of some concern in Alachua County, they continue to weaken into Union and Bradford. So at least on the short term in Bradford County, no immediate concern. In Clay County, if you're going to be put on a tornado warning, it's going to be far southeastern Clay County, talking about over the next 15 minutes and then watching closely these thunderstorms for those of you in southern and central St. Johns County. But we don't have any other warnings as well. This will continue to change as the radar indicated changes. We're continuing to eyeball. Here is, where are we looking? We are at 95 and still at 206. So this is 95 and 206. So wet roads, they've had some shower activity there. Don't see anything too extreme there. The worst of the weather still south of Highway 206 for those of you in St. Johns County, and the tornado warning goes until 3:15. Something interesting here with the model, and it indicates this first, let's call it a cluster of thunderstorms that are developing. They're going to head offshore. And actually, the stronger these thunderstorms become over the next couple of hours, the more energy they will take out of the next line that is heading our way. So for now, we're going to watch both the cluster of thunderstorms developing over us, and then by 9 o'clock tonight, we'll focus west on this line. This is the squall line where a tornado watch has been issued. The thinking is, though, because our thunderstorms locally have become pretty strong, that should sap this energy out. Nonetheless, even though our tornado watch goes until 10 p.m., I'd keep a close watch on the forecast through 11 o'clock tonight, because again, we're just on the warm side of this massive frontal system that we've been talking about for over a week now, and we'll be talking about through at least late Thursday and Friday. But for now, this is what we're dealing with. This is a tornado watch till 6. Our tornado watch now goes until 10 o'clock tonight, includes every county but Glenn. But you know what, you folks in Glenn County, keep a close watch on the forecast. Probably doesn't take me to say the motion is from the southwest to the northeast. And so at the very least, even though you're not under a tornado watch, heavy rains and thunderstorms are headed your way. Let's go back to the tornado warning. The good news is, relatively speaking, we have not had any imminent reports of damage in the Putnam County area. And we'll see if pretty soon now if the tornado watch is allowed to expire. Again, there's a lot of different ingredients we look at as forecasters in addition to just plain what you're observing there on the ground, but one is lightning. And the more lightning the thunderstorm complex has, the stronger it is. If the lightning decreases, that tells us the storm is decreasing. And although certainly we see thunderstorms with lightning over southwestern Putnam County, notice the cell that we've been watching, that's getting into air that's not quite as warm and no longer as much lightning. Still a tornado warning, still need to take it serious, but maybe that's a short-term sign that at least this portion of the thunderstorm complex is not quite as strong. Now, if you remember, when we started this tornado warning around 2:30, this thunderstorm complex was well south of Highway 20. It's now past Highway 20. For those of you in the Interlochen area, the threat from that particular thunderstorm anyhow, that is over. Now, you're still under a tornado watch until 10 p.m. But as far as what you do for a tornado warning, the threat for you with this particular cell in Interlochen, it's over. Certainly won't tell you not to get on the roadways because you have to take care of the kids, although I guess with it being President's Day, there's not probably many in school. Not quite sure what's going on as far as other type of afternoon activities. But again, if we're gonna focus on really why this tornado warning was issued, it was issued because of this particular cell, and this particular cell is already putting heavy rain on Highway 100 there, well to the west-northwest of Palatka, now north of Interlochen and heading toward the Baywood area. And this actually painted pretty well. If you were with us a while ago, it painted the idea that the rotation or the strongest portion of the storm would be into the Baywood area between about 3:05 and 3:15. And so here it is. So this is where the rotation was, now racing well to the north of there. And the rotation still, I still think we can find it, tracking right along that line we gave you here. So that's verifying pretty nicely. But I also don't think it takes me to tell you it's just a little tougher to find that rotation. But nonetheless, for those of you within any of the shading, but especially within the Baywood area, let's treat this as a tornado warning for now, meaning don't get on the roadways and keep you and your loved ones away from windows and possible flying debris. Really from Highway 100 north. For those of you south toward Highway 20, for those of you between Palatka and Interlochen, heavy rains, so if you don't have to be on the roadways, don't. But at least what you would normally do for a tornado warning, I think your concerns for the Interlochen area have decreased. I'll expand the big picture here and see if I can see any other information that might help us figure out just how bad, if not, this cell actually is. Again, the tornado warning was issued back at 2:37, goes until 3:15, and that tornado warning has expired. Okay, so that tornado warning has expired. We're going to go back to regular programming, but I do want to let you know that we're under a tornado watch. Remember, that tornado watch means all of us are under a tornado watch. The potential is there for other thunderstorms to possibly produce tornadoes. Even if you're not put under actually a tornado warning, it's just about a guarantee. From Duval and probably Nassau County south, there will be more thunderstorms with heavy rain and lightning. It's just about a guarantee. And the potential exists for other tornadoes. But for now, the tornado warning has expired. The tornado watch goes through at least 10 o'clock tonight. We're going to keep a close watch on things really through 11 to midnight tonight. But notice all of us, except for Glenn County, and you folks in Glenn County had watch as well, all under a tornado watch. At the very least, we'll have updates for you through the afternoon and the evening. And certainly, if a tornado warning is issued and or we feel like the need to let you know of a potential tornado, we'll be there right away.